later, and it seems as though he wanted to test my mettle. He said, now I want you to teach physics. I said, yes, sir. Chemistry, yes, sir. Biology, yes, sir. I want you to start a baseball team. I said, yes, sir. I want you to start a football team. I said, yes, sir. And I want you to start a band. I said, I certainly will.
Presenting the Grambling College Tiger Marching Band. The band is directed by Conrad Hutchison, Jr. Your drum major is Herman Kemp, assisted by Albert and Christopher Robinson.
Grambling State University Marching Band is #1 in the nation. No other unit has appeared on nationwide television as many times as the Tiger Marching Unit. They played the first Super Bowl in 1967. They performed in the Super Bowl in 1975. They have performed in Africa once, Dallas 10 times, Houston 8 times, 7 times in New York, 3 times in Washington and Los Angeles, twice in Chicago, once in Pittsburgh, Detroit, Cleveland, Kansas City, Portland, Oregon, and Hawaii. The Tiger Band has rocked crowds in the Astrodome, the Louisiana Superdome, the Los Angeles Coliseum, the Rose Bowl, the Cotton Bowl, Texas Stadium, Yankee Stadium, Tulane Stadium, Three Rivers Stadium, and Robert F. Kennedy Stadium. When they complete their upcoming date in the Detroit Dome Stadium, they will have played in every Dome Stadium in the nation. If that isn't enough, a trip to Japan this year is in the making. No doubt about it, the Grambling University Marching Band is #1. The unit began its historic march to worldwide fame in 1926 under the direction of University President Albert W. Jones, only the second leader the university has ever had. It achieved that goal under the direction of Conrad Hutchison, only the second band director Grambling has ever known. And Hutch, as his name is called on occasion, rules the group with an iron hand. Since Hutch took over the reins in August of 1952, only 2 fights have occurred. All involved were expelled from the band. That is one of 2 things Hutch does not stand for. The second is tardiness. If you're late for a trip, no matter what the destination is around the world, you don't go. And that includes the trip back. And more than likely, we'll never see the same band on the field twice. Some are actually members of the band a full 2 years before they get a shot at a halftime show. And those that don't cut it are replaced. Hutch's philosophy is, if you can't look sharp and be sharp, someone else can. Conrad Hutchinson is a driving force, driving for perfection in his work and perfection in the men in his organization, on the field and off. Some say it is harder to make the Grambling band than it is to make the also world-famous football team. What does Hutch say?
Well, probably the fellows are thinking about the physical angle. And of course, the physical training and so on is a result of our concept of what we think a band should look and sound like. We'll march a parade of 7 miles at 180 beats per minute. The entire time you see a Grambling routine on the football field, the band is moving and playing. And the physical training, we feel, could be a little rough.
To Hutch, it's all in a day's work. To members of the band, it's a grueling grind that has all the markings of a Marine basic training camp. Before each and every practice session, the band takes calisthenics. Then they go to work. It takes about 18 8-hour days to get the members ready for their first show. And if you don't get a step, you just work until you do.
Yeah, because when one mess up, the whole band mess up. Let's see if you can do it again. With me. 1, 2, ready, move. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2. Yeah, hold on, put a little movement into it. All right, a little soul, a little movement.
It is tough, but there is not one member of the band that would trade any of it. To become a performing member of the band, it is to be a part of the elite, and the pride is worth every ounce of sweat.
When Dr. Jennings came to my high school, Ringo High, and we had career day, and I was interested in the band then. And during the summer, I got a letter from Conrad Hutchinson saying that I was able to get a scholarship to come to Grambling.
To me, it meant we learned discipline. I feel it'll help me in the future, maybe when I get a job, and all the other responsibilities in life. Maybe I can look back to the way we were taught, to be on time, stuff like that.
And if you had this to do all over again, would you do it again?
I wouldn't change anything.
We worked long, hard hours, even late in the night in the stadium, not in the stadium, but in a practice field where there's no shade or anything. It really gets tough out there sometimes.
Well, ever since I was in elementary school, I always wanted to be a member, living right in Monroe, not far from Grambling. It's very rewarding, very.
Would you, if you had this to do over again, would you try it again?
Yes, I will. It was quite an adventure, but I will.
The band is part of the package, Grambling Football and Grambling Marching Band. They share the limelight 50-50. They have been mobbed by ecstatic fans in New York and had their elbows rubbed by Hollywood's most popular stars. You might recognize some faces: Muhammad Ali, Red Fox, Flip Wilson, The Fifth Dimension, Roosevelt Grier, and even Rodney Allen Rippey. The list could go on and on. The Grambling University Marching Band makes their appearances mostly on their talent and charisma, but they could not do it without a lot of public relations and promotions. That part comes from Colin Nicholson, noted as one of the best in the business and has the credentials to prove it. Because of Nick, the band is so well known that halftime concessions suffer at some football games. The fans stay to see the band and the halftime show.
That was the first American Football League championship game, and I had been invited out to San Diego by the Chargers, and during the halftime, to everybody's surprise, nobody went to the concession stands. They all stayed to watch the show. And of course, we thought that this was most unusual, and I think it reflects the kind of interest that fans have generally for the Grambling unit.
Nick doesn't have any trouble finding the places to go. The band is in such demand that many times they must simply turn down the invitations. The other half of the package is Grambling football team. All you have to do is look at pro football and count the number of Grambling grads there to tell the success of that program. The two go hand in glove. The two teams have their jobs to do on the field. Very few others in the nation are quite as successful. The odd part of it all is that the football team rarely gets to see the band perform at the half, but they can hear. The team and the band are a partnership and an inspiration to each other.
Without the band in the various cities across the country, we kind of feel lost. And we like to know that they're going to be with us. We think of them as a part of the package. We think of them as being a recruiting agency. We think of the band as being an inspiration to the youth. And we all know that the many people who follow us in the various stadiums across the country, that they come to see the halftime show, the pregame show, and the postgame show. And we feel that this means so much because a lot of the young kids today, they don't really play football. We noticed one year in New York, we had a chance to see part of the parade, and just hundreds of kids just followed in Harlem. They just followed the band. And we know that a lot of these persons will go on to probably be interested in music. We know we get a lot of students, and we know how the fans react. Now, contrary to what people think, we do see a little of the halftime show because we usually get back just before they're coming off the field, and we see a lot of the post-game show. No, I'd like to just give you this quick story. We were playing at Southern one year, and at halftime, Southern was leading us, and it was almost time to come on, and I told one of the trainers, look out and see whether the bands were off the field and whether we could come on. And the guy heard me, so when they opened the door, he said, yeah, the band's off the field, and our band has won its game. Now you come on and win your game.
After the football season, see what they've been missing. The relationship is rare. It is a relationship of winners. In 1972, the Tigers unit won the Battle of the Bands in Dallas, Texas, officially becoming the best band in the land, not to mention 3 trophies and $10,000. The men involved with the Grambling football team and band are competitive. Each year they take an entire university student body and staff for an emotional ride, complete with times of joy and times of pain. And the spirit runs deep through the whole institution, through everyone that is or has ever been a part of Grambling.
We may not be #1 in football team every year, but the band is #1 so far, as long as I've been here.
They're fantastic. I've never seen anyone get a crowd moving the way they can.
And everywhere it has been an ambassador of goodwill. People love music. People love good music.
Every chance I get, I watch them on television. Each time I come back, I make a visit to the band room and talk with band members and Mr. Hutchison, Mr. Wally, and the other faculty members that were involved in the band.
They are a particular source of pride to us. And of course, there is no harder working organization on the campus.
But when all is said and done, and education is the most important part of Grambling's existence. If the grades come out poor, you come out of the band. That is the first and foremost requirement making anyone eligible for a place in the band, scholastic achievement. Yet being in the band is an achievement in education itself. It is an achievement that very few students anywhere in the world attain. In January of 1972, Grambling's marching band represented the State Department and the President of the United States abroad. The group accompanied Mrs. Richard Nixon to the inauguration of Liberian President Walter R. Talbot in Africa. It was an unprecedented accomplishment for any American university band, and President Nixon would later refer to the performance as magnificent. But there is really no place like home for men and women all over the nation who spend their most important years of their life on the campus. For the band members, of which only 50% are music majors, the experience is total. Conrad Hutchison is the authority, but his students carry the responsibility. They present musical arrangements, field routines, and ideas to the director and his staff, William Wiley, Charles Turner, Linwood Seals, and Edward Goodwin. The band itself does the work and carries the responsibility under the watchful eyes of those who teach.
They look forward to its coming every year. and thousands and thousands and thousands of men, women, and children of all races lined the streets. Many students have come to Grambling by listening at the band and seeing the band perform and being filled with that spirit to want to be a member of the Grambling State University family.
How long has the band been in operation here at the university?
I am a bit modest about this, but I started the band in 1926. It had only 17 pieces, but even then we were a proud group. And when Mr. Conrad Hutchinson came in the early 40s, he brought it up to the unit that it is now, where it is of world renown.
You have many requests throughout the country for the bands performing in other countries and other towns and so forth. And how do you make this schedule, and how do you keep up with this kind of thing?
We don't schedule it ourselves. We simply get the requests from different agencies to appear. And if they are able to take care of the expenses, we go. It is an education for the young men in the band. They get a chance to travel. They get a chance to meet other people. I wish you could have seen them in Portland, Oregon last year when they marched into the large marketplace and thousands of people came around to hear them play. And the men, women, and children followed them down the streets. They immediately became attached to them and became a part of this unit. This we were very proud of. And even now, we get letters from people in that area who speak of the band and its quality and what a good job that it's doing and how it makes people know about the university.
There is no place like home on the campus of Grambling State University, USA. They sweat, work, and strive to give the people what they want, and they are proud of their right as Americans to do so.